Man, if only we had some, I don't know, a cape, a Super Saiyan hair for Gohan, maybe even glasses. Ooh, what's that? I think we've got some DLC here. That's right, Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. Hey, how's it going everyone? Well, it's finally time. Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 are out in Japan. Both of these are premium Bandai in the USA and Japan as well. And if you haven't got yours yet, it should be shipping out soon if you're importing from Japan. And in the USA, just keep an eye out for that shipping notice. For other regions, again, just hit up your local distributor. Now, these are the first villains, I guess, from the superhero movie which aired earlier last year. Now, the previous releases that we had from the movie was obviously Piccolo, Goku, Vegeta and Gohan. Gohan being my favourite of the four, and I think probably that is the case for everyone. Now, both of these figures come with some fantastic accessories for Gohan. Whether or not that is a pro or a con, that will depend on the person. Personally, I'm stoked to get them, regardless of the method. Now, a lot of people were definitely not thrilled about these figures in the first place. They did not want to get them for the price. These are the full normal premium Bandai price that you'd expect for a figure that comes with lots of accessories in that 8,000, 9,000 yen range. A lot of people didn't want these figures until they saw the movie. Then they were like, hell yeah, give me that Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 action. And even after that, I was still on the fence, even myself. But man, getting these guys in hand, whew, they are actually really nice. Not without their cons, of course. But since these shipped together, went up together, and well, they're basically Gamma 1 Gamma 2. They go together well, so it's a joint review for these. So a lot of the points, especially in terms of articulation, will mainly just focus on one figure, since there isn't really any difference there. Now, if you are new to the channel, thank you very much for joining, and there's always SH.Figuarts reviews each month for the Dragon Ball line, or when there's a release, and other figures as well. Now, actually, for the setup, I am moving very soon, so the setup will be changing. So please, if you've been watching my videos for a while and there's things you'd like to see changed, whether it's in the structure of a video or more just the lighting, layout, sound and all that, please do let me know in the comments below so I can take that into consideration when I set up the new area for doing reviews. I want to change things up a little bit, kind of make it a lot easier to view it for yourself and cover the details and make it a more pleasurable viewing experience in general. But anyway, enough of that. Let's jump into the figures itself. Now, for these ones here, they've carried through the same design as the retail releases. If I take the Gohan box here, see, got the silver writing and that bronzy gold colour in the background. So it is nice to see that they've carried through that theme out, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the same for the movie Broly and Pan, who are up on pre-order. Pretty sure they're both active at the moment, actually, so they'll be coming later this year. If you are new to collecting figures, keep an eye out for the Tamashii quality seal. That is one way to spot a legit figure or not. So yeah, that's enough for the boxes. Basically same old, so let's just pop them out and see what they come with. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen a bunch of photos already showcasing what they do come with. But for those who haven't seen it, let's jump right in. So we've got the Gamma 1 in the centre here, and the pistol, or his blaster, is already attached to his belt. Now, the one that he can hold is actually a different design, and we'll get a closer look at this soon. But basically, this is a little bit pegged for it to slot into the holster. We have quite a few faces here. We've got the kind of neutral face on him already, and then we've got a slightly frowning one, the kind of eyes kind of slanted a little bit, open kind of shocked look, teeth gritting, and then the shouting look. He also does come with the folded arm design, and that's always something I'm never really fond of changing on figures, always a little bit fiddly and tedious. However, if you do want to pose him with his arms folded, you have that attachment for the more natural look. And as I mentioned before, we've got the blaster, and then we have, 3 additional pairs of hands. We've got the flat hands out for his pose, the kind of a grabbing spread finger one, as well as the hands for holding the blaster. Now, in terms of the additional bonus parts we get for the Gohan release for Ultimate Gohan, and that is the Super Saiyan head, and along with 2 additional faces. Now we've got the slightly frowning look, the typical screaming and the teeth gritting look. And personally, I'm digging those faces so far, and the hair colour, a lot more softer, lighter yellow colour. Now if we switch over to Gamma number 2 on the side here, now again very similar to 1. We've got the blaster and the holder, we've got the single gun as well that you can hold, and we have in this case 4 hands. So the same pairs of hands as Gamma 1, but we have an additional, his kind of what's that, signature pose hand for his left and right hand there, which is great. In terms of faces, 1 less than Gamma 1, but we do have a nice range of expressions. The kind of cheeky smirk one, the neutral face on there, the shouting and the teeth gritting as well. Basically your stock standard expressions with any Dragon Ball figure arts. Now in terms of the bonus parts for our Ultimate Gohan, we have the base normal neutral Saiyan head with glasses. If you've seen the movie, it's basically an iconic look, and it goes well with the cape, which is just behind. It's a bit more of a simpler version of Piccolo's cape, and we can pop that on Ultimate Gohan later along with the Super Saiyan heads to check those out, because I know that is definitely a big selling point for these figures for a lot of people. But yeah, overall both of these figures come stacked with accessories and a great range of expressions. So let's pop them out of their clamshell packaging, and we can take a look at the overall finish for the figures. Okay, so we've got Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 spinning around on the turntable, and straight away the colours definitely pop. I'm really kind of digging that yellow colour. It is kind of a nice mustardy uniform colour, which is really nice, and it goes well with the boots. These definitely have that nice kind of gumboot look to them. The printing of the Red Ribbon Army logo, the colour suppression for the vest buttons, I guess, is really nice, and even the printing for the 2 and 1 crisp and clean. I like the detailing on the pistols as well. We've got the 2 and obviously the 1 on the Gamma 1 as he spins around. The belt buckle design is really nice, the colouring on that is good, and overall the faces I feel are looking pretty clean, though I will say the finish on the legs is just straight out of a mould. It is a little bit too shiny. At least the upper rubber parts on his top part of his uniform there, I feel like that colouring looks a bit nice, and the matte colour kind of looks a little bit better. That is the one downside so far with the finish. It looks a little bit cheap and plasticky. Now I'm pretty sure these figures are probably not high sellers compared to most releases. It's probably why they are stacked with the Gohan figures, and probably a bit more of a cheaper finish compared to some others, due to the fact they're probably not big money makers, unfortunately. But despite that, they do look really nice, and it's only when you get really close and under certain lighting where they will start looking a little bit cheaper compared to some other releases. So yeah, the capes are hard as well, like most ones for the Dragon Ball line. I think it suits the figures itself. Cloth capes I feel look a little bit better with real life action, kind of like the Marvel movies ones based on a real life action show, whereas the anime ones I feel the hard plastic capes do look better, but again that is just definitely personal preference. So yeah, that is enough about the finish. So what we'll do, we'll pick up probably Gamma 1 and we'll use him for the articulation sample, as both their main bodies are the same. So yeah, let's just jump straight into the articulation. So starting off with the head here, check out that tilt. One thing that's quite interesting with these figures is there is the peg in the head, and it's facing so it can tilt left and right. Now the reason for that is because the neck has a huge range of motion already, and then on top of that you can actually tilt the head forward a little bit further. Now you will get a bit of a gap there because it's kind of on the same drum system as the Krillin figures, so depending on how you position that you'll get more or less range, but the way it's just set up straight out of a box, you get a decent range already, which is pretty impressive. Though you do get a bit of a gap underneath there in the neck, so depending again on how far you push it, it may look natural or it may look a little bit odd. But yeah, that's fine. Now for the cape itself, it's on a single peg which will go up and down, and it holds itself pretty well. Now before we jump into the rest of the articulation, I'll pop this off just so it's not in the way, and we can get a closer look at that single peg there. So do be careful if you are playing around with the figure. Now for the shoulder range itself, as your usual butterfly joints, which will pop out from the inner cavity to give you extra range. Now if you swivel this around, you can actually get around pretty far, especially when you align all the joints the right way. So you can actually bring his arm all the way across, which is actually really nice. Yeah, I was kind of blown away when I took him out of the box. I was not expecting this level of articulation. I mean, check out the elbow joint as well. That is a lot better than most figures. So yeah, I'm hoping we kind of see some more of these changes brought through to other figures with similar builds, because this articulation is definitely really nice. Same with the peg here. The actual peg connecting his hand to his arm is a little bit longer than normal, and that itself will give a little bit more articulation up top. So you can actually, while the hand is in there, you can bend it around further to get more range. So there, you can bend his hand all the way over, and this works really well with those other hands when you kind of bring them into those Karate Kid style posing, which is really cool. Now moving over to the next main part of articulation, that is the upper chest area. Now this will actually move forward actually a surprising amount. Again, it will open up on the back, but if you're only looking for the front or the side, it is fine. But check out that massive range of articulation. And also keep in mind, when you have a cape on there, it can be blocked as well. Now, even going back, and especially when combined with that hip joint, these guys have some crazy good articulation, which is good because they have those really cool Sentai cheesy style posing going on, which is fantastic. Now, coming down to the middle part, this is a nice soft rubber which moves out of the way easily, and you can basically do the splits as well. Now, this is actually on a, there we go, joint. We can move the gun out of the way as well, so it won't get in the way too much with his articulation of the leg. So the gun here is on a little bit pivot too. As I mentioned before, these do pop in and out. So as you can see there, it's just a peg tip, and from a holster you don't even notice. So it's a pretty nice way of handling it to be able to have the blaster go in and out. Now coming down to the knees, I mean, again, fantastic range of articulation there, no hindrance at all. And even for the boots here, as we can see, it's got a decently long peg, and then this will just pop into the boot, and you can get some almost unnatural level range of articulation going on, which is good when you're trying to get him into a more dynamic pose with his kind of leg spread out. It's pretty reminiscent of the new Naruto line, just with a single peg. I think it kind of helps that he does have the gum boots there though. The toe tip is a little bit more restricted compared to some figures, but for the most part it should be sufficient for most poses that you want to put these figures in. So yeah, if you're blown away by the level of articulation these guys have, like I was, definitely drop a comment below. I was not expecting the level of, basically this sums up, I was not expecting this at all. It is a lot better than I could ever imagine. But yeah, that is it for the articulation. So Gamma2 over here, if we just bring him over for a quick moment, we can see same level of articulation in every kind of aspect. So won't go over this guy individually, but what we will do now, we will jump in and switch out all the heads and get a closer look at those faces that come with these figures. So starting with Gamma1, this is the base face we have, and it's that kind of neutral look, and again really nice. There isn't too much detail on these faces, just this colour separation between the base head grey and the subtle purple in the skin tones, and again it looks really nice, and same with that yellow colouring for the eyes. Next up is that teeth grit look. Pretty simple. We've got a little bit extra detailing just on the upper lip there to bring forth that kind of cheekiness in this expression. And next up is the full screaming one. Again, like the previous faces, we have a subtle indentation above those eyebrows, I guess that would be. Helps bring forth that emotion. Overall, these faces are a little bit more basic compared to some other figures recently, but still looks clean. I think the subtly shocked face is probably my favourite for this figure. One eye slightly larger than the other, with the eyebrow coming down, just kind of in a "huh? Are you kidding me?" or something type look, with the mouth open like he's doing a fake laugh. So this one's pretty nice. I can see it working pretty well in some comedic photos. And then finally we've got the stern, it's business time face, the kind of serious stoic one with a subtle frown going on. Again, we've got those subtle detailing just above those eyes here to bring forth that emotion in this face. Definitely drop a comment below for which one is your favourite face for this figure. Moving over to Gamma number 2 now with these iconic fins on his head there. I definitely prefer the design of 2 over 1, but for the face itself, basically exactly the same. Same finish, same stylings almost. Now this one here is the subtle frown look, which is nice. You can see the chin slightly coming up where he looks like he's kind of sucking in that face a little bit, which is quite nice. The screaming face here is really nice as well. We've got the mouth wide open, the colour separation from the tongue, teeth and surrounding face is nice and clean as well. Same with the definition between the darker grey and then the subtle purple look for the inner skin colour there. And finally for this one we have the teeth gritting look, which is nice. Again, I like how it isn't symmetrical at all. It definitely looks like he's kind of annoyed, kind of what's that, sucking his teeth almost, gritting his teeth at some orders he does not like. So next up is the bonus parts for the Gohan figure, and this is the Super Saiyan head which comes with Gamma 1. Now this colouring over here I really like, though some extra detailing could have been quite nice, a little bit of weathering or something like that to really bring through the colour. But it definitely looks like it's in a bright light, he's really powering up and he has that nice sheen like he has in the movie. For a closer look here, the face that comes on it is the neutral kind of stern look, and this one's really nice again, super crisp lines under the eyes, that subtle look on his mouth and the detailing above the eyebrows as well. So the eyebrows and the sideburns colour is fractionally darker than the hair, but it's not something you notice in normal lighting. Only kind of on photos under very bright lights like this. Now during the daytime when I was looking at them I could not notice at all, but under some very bright lights here it is a little bit more noticeable, but in general use when you're kind of looking at it a little bit further away it shouldn't be a problem at all. So the second face we have is the Shouting one. This is my favourite by far. I love the subtle white for the teeth, the peachy tongue, the extra detailing just above the cheek there, and all the extra lines and detailing coming through. Definitely looks like the aggression and the anger from the scene is coming through in this face. And then finally we've got another great face, and this is the teeth gritting, the kind of angry look. This one will be really cool for powering up. I can imagine having the cape kind of fluttering in the back there. This one is really nice as well. I did say the shading one was my favourite, but this one is definitely a close second. Actually all three of them are really nice. Definitely drop a comment below for which one is your favourite of the Super Saiyan faces. So Gamma 2 comes with 2 additional accessories, and that is the cape and the base head with glasses. So this one is pretty basic cape. It's got a single joint on the back there so you can lift up that cape. It's pretty loose on this one. I'm not sure if they're all like that or if it'll just kind of depend on the joint, but if they stand there you can definitely hold them up and have it fluttering in the back, which looks really cool. Gohan with the cape, I can imagine him with Piccolo would look really badass. Unfortunately my Piccolo is boxed out currently, but when I get them both out I definitely want to do a family photo. Now the cape itself just slots on and off, so we can pop the head off here, take the cape off and get a closer look at the base head with glasses. Okay, so he looks kind of annoyed, angry here, and definitely if you've seen the movie you'll understand why. The glasses themselves look really nice. Got a dark blue colour to them, so depending on the lighting it'll be kind of dark grey, a little bit black or blue. Now I checked out some photos online, and yeah, definitely in the movie as well it was this colouring. It might have been a bit darker, but when it got some bright light on it, it did have that blue sheen to it. So overall pretty accurate to the movie, and yeah, he looks so nice. The glasses themselves don't really come off from what I've seen, and the faceplate does not interchange with the base Ultimate Gohan figure. Same with the Super Saiyan one, they do have a subtly different peg arrangement and sizing depending on the shape of the head that they were attaching to. So if you were looking to switch those faceplates in and out, straight out of the box you won't be able to do it, unfortunately. So the pauldrons here, or the cloak, actually works with the Super Saiyan head as well, and we can put the base Ultimate Gohan head on too. So this is what it looks like with the default Gohan head. Again, doesn't matter which head you use, he looks badass with that setup. Before we jump into the pros and cons, we're going to have a quick look at Gamma 1 and 2 with their gun. Now check that out, we've got the little teeth gritting in there, looks like the shark with a fierce eye, and the number 1 printed on both sides. And as you can see, he can strike some pretty dynamic poses. I will be getting a few more photos done this weekend, so you can check those out on rockchala.com as well as on Instagram. And Gamma number 2 is just the same, but with a blue gun. The colour of the eye is very nice. It's got a little bit of sheen to it, which is really cool. Definitely a cool little bit shark blaster. Definitely fits in with the fins on number 2 and 1's head as well. Okay, so time to jump into those pros and cons. So we've got Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 here striking a pose along with Ultimate Gohan with some of the cool bonus parts that come with these figures. Now I have taken off the cape for Gamma 1 here just because the stand is in the way, though he can easily strike that pose with this cape fluttering in the back with no trouble at all. Now straight up, a lot of the pros for these figures, well, we get the accessories. This is definitely one reason why a lot of people were initially buying them, was for the cape, the glasses look for Gohan, along with the Super Saiyan head as well. So let's pop that down there too. Now, the other pro, I think we've got articulation that we shouldn't even have on these figures. It's just too nice. I'm definitely blown away by the posing that these figures can strike, from the ankles to that hip area, along with the even the shoulders, just everything on these figures in terms of articulation, a lot better than I expected, and they're definitely going to be really fun figures to have on your desk just to play around with and come up with some really cool dynamic posing. So I've definitely nailed it there. The rubber parts for the lower part of their uniform is really nice. I like the colouring and the finish, and the capes work really well too. Simple but effective. Again, that will probably be a con for some people, but I'm happy with these type of plastic capes for the Dragon Ball line. I feel it kind of fits the aesthetic really well. Now in terms of the other finish, I think this is going to be in the con area. These are gumboots, and that is what gumboots look like. So the boots I can look past, but I feel like part of the uniform, the top part and the legs especially, just looks a little bit cheap. If we could have had the same finish as the nice rubber here, I think it would have been spot on. But unfortunately it does look a little bit cheap compared to some other figures, though it's pretty similar to what we had with Zarbon and Dodoria anyway, so it isn't too different from a lot of other figures, but a slightly nicer finish there could have been nice. Maybe it's just a little bit more noticeable on the yellow compared to the blue and purple for Gohan here. The other con for me, I feel the faces are a little bit more 2019, 2018, nice, but not as crisp and sharp as a lot of faces we get these days. It could be more down to their design, but a lot of the figures these days have such nice detailed faces with the lines and details, which really brings through that emotion. These ones look nice, but a little bit more dated. So that is definitely on the slight con list for me. But yeah, besides that, I don't have any other issues with these figures so far. I'm looking forward to playing more with them. It definitely is a figure that's going to be a little bit more tricky to pose to get looking nice from every angle. As we can see here, we have a few more gaps coming around the shoulder, on the neck there, so if you push that articulation a lot, the gaps will open quite a bit more, and that is always the trade-off with a wider range of articulation, unfortunately. But thankfully the cape and a lot of the angles are done in such a way that you can actually kind of hide a lot of those gaps, which isn't too bad overall. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely let me know below what you think about the Gamma 1 and 2, and which camp were you in. Camp 1, pass, but kind of want now, or maybe Camp 2, bought only for accessories but you've fallen in love with them after seeing them move and excited to get them, or number 3, kind of part number 2 but now still pumped to get these for the figures themselves just from seeing the articulation and what they do come with overall. Definitely keen to see what everyone thinks about them in that regard. But yeah, more photos coming in a few days. I am moving over next week, so I'm going to be pretty busy, but there should be another video later next month. And again, as I mentioned at the start, please let me know what you'd like to see changed about the reviews, the setup, maybe the presentation, sound, audio, lighting, all that stuff, so I can look into ways to make it better going forward post move. But again, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, cheers.